known that how he plants all of these people around me, and he after she walked by herself, his voice just came out of his record company planted to a speaker, which he probably has eyes on me as well, and he I can hear his voice go mm, to the fact that I'm updating um, the proposal, which despite him trying to cause all kind of problems on the actual site, the Peppermint Tea House has assets in the work that I did over there already. So I'm adding that to the news to report it as public access knowledge because, of course, he is continuously aware of these things. And so he begins to work against it. And so the last thing he wants is for the public to be aware that um, the workings was all as, as successful as it was, and despite what he's doing, that the going forward is never going to be a problem. It was just so much that went on last week that it was in my best interest to fight it from off the property. And but it's just ironic to see how his bummy people really think that they rule up in this piece here, and he want to get his claws into the works of art, the work that I'm doing so bad. As a public, you have a chance to step up and say, "Get your tyrant ass back into hell where you belong." He has no stake in ownership in it. The continual desire to work on it with me is always rejected. I want to get that into you as something that is one of the most extremely important details is that he has been rejected, like sort of like a devil, like to a Christian. It's it's in our best interest to reject all of their advances, whether in their hearts or minds, or it's even if it sounds like it's innocent or it's good or it's going to be beneficial. Um, the fact is that they can't. The devil, a wicked person, can't do good. Jesus said in his word that uh, we're asking him when how will we know the people that we're going out to save when he sent the disciples out two by two. They questioned him like, how will we know? And he said, you will know them by the fruits of their labor, the fruits of their tongue, their words, their actions, their deeds, their own self-preservation tactics, how they go about surviving, whether they do it in an animalistic way, in a way that's good for the land as a whole, or whether he's just selfish, psychotic, which I had the ability to see through him very early. I did kind of give them the benefit of the doubt in the beginning, but it wasn't long before they made a visit to Rhode Island. Within probably the first month that I met them, on a so-called tour, and I was sure then that I had wanted nothing to do with someone who were inviting girls that were clearly starstruck for immature reasons. When you have your first concert and stuff, it's very important that you don't go, you know, you that you have some sort of eye, of caution, because the eye of caution it can save your life. I've been to many concerts and been with the yelling and the screaming and all of that, and most of the artists, actually all of the other artists that I have ever had the pleasure of going and seeing on stage to perform, they have never tried to cling themselves onto me as one of their personal gang assistants. Um, so they are very upset because when they finally did meet me, they had every intention of not, having to ever leave. With that being said, the development of the Medina Museum of Art, Restoration and Preservation has gained assets now in real estate. So that's what I'm dealing with now, and I'm just about to record that and upgrade the photographs because there's a Facebook page of fans waiting. We have, to our credit, a new recipe that came from me eating lunch and using what I had and having no most of the things that the organic building of a platform, which was the foundation to the tent that I ordered over Amazon, Don.com, that's organic because of the fact that I had no power tools, but only using manpower. When you're not using machinery and it's all your physical, I am considered an organic being, a part of nature, where I am not able to pump out at high mechanical speeds the amount of nails that, let's say, a carpenter or someone would have invested into those tools or whatever. Even if I had those kinds of tools, which I did purchase, one a really small feminine screw gun with a whole bunch of other pieces of 44 piece set tool set just for that project. One of the things that I've invested into the project myself, I've invested in a saw, a hand saw. Those items are primitive to the building of the company, the company and this country, where there was a time when those hand tools did perfect work for the building. They have a history that's so rich that they're still able to be stocked on walls, and they're the cheaper route. So organic affords you the building of your own muscle strength and tissue, and getting in there and taking longer, but building more muscle tension for yourself. That makes an organic benefit. Also, you get to decide. I have the whole bunch of material that I sawed down, and that's another part of the asset curriculum. Number one being the platform, which I had screwed together over 200, almost $300 worth of 2x4s together to form a platform. And I was going to get the plywood, and they're going in the stores and trying to get $20 off of plywood that I'm purchasing, and telling me that it's more money than it really is, $5 or $10 here or there. And he's kind of trying to scalp money off of the project. The fact that I'm like telling him that he is not going to be allowed to poach me that way, any way at all. Um, he has become a 24-hour watchman over me. So the other thing was the gaining of the old artwork that was meant for the tea house. It was artwork that I did at the Medina Museum of Art on the Sims world that I created, a whole world. I began to pour it into the character of myself, those architectural plans and blueprints where they allow you to build businesses, structures, homes, to remodel. You're capable of remodeling within this game where the people even grow tired or worn out, and you have to replenish their strength. It's completely like a regular way of life, but it's in a game form. I was able to, within this process, grab some of that information of the kitchen areas that I had restored, and make them transfer them onto getting it ready, for the proposals to get out to the community leaders, as well as the grants writing, petition recipients. Another organic avenue of assets is the Medina works on the back wall of a project at 202 JT Connell Drive behind the Pizza Hut. When I first came on the site, it was under hot pursuit. Just making sure I'm rolling here. It was in the nighttime. You couldn't see behind the building at night, so I was sure that that was the best place for me because the more that the different cars, 15 to 20 cars, just zooming by, the glare of their lights giving me a headache. I mean, this is even still happening now. Their lights. Um, it's like they like to keep me on a stage. Like, let's keep an eye on her. And another woman walked by yesterday and was like, they're having trouble finding someone to watch me. The fuck? This guy is psychotic for my business. The museum is totally just as one would expect for a museum which is doing well. Other museums might be attracted to me, but they are not gonna. That might be the hush hush. The quiet. There's the museum asset of the creating of the fashionable designs, and then now actually drawing from that to make the designs and the banners a reality, made out of cloth for the banner, so that the that gained an upgrade because if I use a certain different fabric for the yarn, for the for if I use a certain fat, it's not a fabric. If I use it is the yarn. Well, now I got to talk to people now because they don't want to leave me alone. It's sad to see how they regress around me and jump in and out of my business. But the upgrade of the things that are being made now, those blueprints are actually being going through the organic process for assets ownership of the Medina Museum in general, through when I had made a sign. I had started it with I made a sign and I made it out of magic markers, and they're available up on Medina Magenta Facebook.com, on the links. I mean, if you go into photos, it should be in the photo gallery. But I had got a rainstorm come through, and while it was up, it kind of faded it inward, so I have to repair that. But the organic upgrade and art value is that I'm beginning to use something that even if you do rain on it, it's like we welcome that with it being made out of yarn because there's no way that the color will fade because of water. The back wall that I wanted to say is a physical, strenuous work, which was born out of my artistic desire to see that back wall push back at least 15 or 10 to 12 feet of space to regain the visual as well as the usable space that had overgrown into the lot that I wanted to use from the adjacent lot. So these trees were planted in a lot behind it, but because of the length of time that it hasn't been used, it had time to grow a sediment of 3 inches in height